To walk alone is not to be afraid of solitude, but to embrace the opportunity to grow, evolve, and become the best version of yourself. When you think about your life and your journey, you might realize something important. Sometimes you have to walk alone. It's not always easy, it's not always comfortable, but it's one of the most powerful choices you can make. Today I want to talk to you about why walking alone is not just okay, but necessary for your growth. We live in a world where everyone is connected. Everyone seems to have an opinion, a piece of advice, or a way they think you should live, and it's easy to get caught up in that. It's easy to let the noise of the world guide your decisions, to follow along with what everyone else is doing. But here's the thing. Walking alone is where you find out who you really are. It's where you discover your true strength, your potential, and your ability to make decisions based on what's best for you, not what others expect from you. In this video, I'm going to walk you through why it's so important to stand on your own, how it can make you stronger, and why the most rewarding parts of life often come when you stop waiting for permission and take charge of your own path. I know it's not easy. I know it can feel isolating at times, but I promise you, the growth that comes from walking alone is something you'll never regret. Stick with me and I'll show you exactly how this can transform your life. Number 1, the power of walking alone. Walking alone is one of the most powerful things you can do in your life. It's not the easiest choice, but it's the one that leads to real growth. There's something uniquely transformative about choosing to walk your own path, even when that path is lonely, uncertain, and uncomfortable. It's a decision that will challenge you, test you, and push you beyond your limits. But at the end of the day, walking alone allows you to tap into a deeper strength that you may not even know you have. We live in a world that constantly tells us to follow others, to be part of the crowd, to seek comfort and approval. From a young age, we are taught to follow the path that others have laid out for us, to follow the rules, meet the expectations, and stick to the plan. Society tells us to fit in, to be part of a group, to always have people around us. And while there's nothing wrong with companionship, there's something truly powerful about stepping away from all of that and forging your own path. When you walk alone, you begin to see things differently. You stop worrying about what other people think. You stop measuring your success by someone else's standards. You stop trying to please others, and instead you start living for yourself. And that's where true strength begins to emerge. Walking alone forces you to rely on yourself. It forces you to make decisions that are true to your own values, not based on what others expect from you. It teaches you to trust your own instincts, to develop self-discipline, and to stand strong even when the world around you is uncertain. It's a journey of self-discovery, where you learn more about who you are and what you're truly capable of. But here's the thing, walking alone isn't easy. It's hard. It can feel isolating at times. There will be moments when you question yourself, when you wonder if you're on the right path, when you feel like you're doing this all by yourself. But that's exactly why it's so powerful. Because in those moments, when you feel alone, you realize that you're not waiting for someone else to tell you what to do. You're not waiting for permission or validation. You're making the decisions for yourself, and that gives you a sense of ownership and control over your own life. One of the hardest parts about walking alone is that it often means distancing yourself from the people and things that no longer serve your growth. This could mean letting go of relationships that hold you back, stepping away from environments that aren't aligned with your goals, or simply refusing to go along with the crowd. It's not easy to say no to people who want you to stay in the same place as them, but it's necessary if you want to grow. People will try to pull you back to the familiar. They'll try to keep you in the same patterns, the same routines, the same mindset that you've always had. But if you want something different, something greater, you have to step away from the old and embrace the unknown. When you choose to walk alone, you're making a conscious decision to break away from mediocrity. You're choosing to be different, to carve out your own path, to live life on your own terms. And yes, that can be scary. Yes, it can be lonely at times. But it's also incredibly rewarding. As you continue walking this path, you'll begin to realize that your strength doesn't come from the people around you. It doesn't come from the external validation you might have once sought. Your strength comes from within. It comes from the courage to keep going, even when no one else is there to cheer you on. It comes from the resilience to face challenges head on, even when it feels like the world is against you. Over time, walking alone allows you to develop a sense of self-reliance. You learn to trust your own judgment, to be confident in your own decisions, and to build the discipline needed to keep moving forward. You become less dependent on others for support and more capable of standing on your own 2 feet. And that's a powerful place to be. But walking alone doesn't mean that you'll always be alone. It doesn't mean that you'll never find people who understand you, who support you, and who want to be part of your journey. In fact, the opposite is true. When you walk alone, you start to attract the right people into your life. People who respect your independence. People who admire your strength. People who share your vision and your values. And when those people do come into your life, you'll realize that they are the right people because they've been drawn to you because of who you are, not because you were trying to fit in with them. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that we need others to validate our worth, to support us, to tell us we're on the right track. But the truth is, the more you walk alone, the more you realize that your validation needs to come from within. You don't need anyone else to tell you that you're doing a good job. You don't need anyone else to tell you that you're on the right path. You just need to know it for yourself. The beauty of walking alone is that it allows you to truly connect with yourself. It gives you the space to think, to reflect, to plan, and to grow. It gives you the time to figure out who you are, what you want, and where you're going. And when you're clear about those things, you'll find that the right people will naturally come into your life. They'll come because you've set a standard for yourself that attracts those who are on a similar journey. They'll come because they recognize your strength and your commitment to your own growth. And when they do, you'll be ready to share your journey with them, not because you need them, but because you've learned to walk your own path first. There's a saying that goes, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." And while I believe there's some truth to that, I also believe that when you choose to walk alone, you're raising the standard for who you allow into your life. You're not settling for people who are content with mediocrity. You're not settling for people who want to drag you down. You're looking for people who inspire you, challenge you, and support your growth. When you learn to walk alone, you start to see the world differently. You start to see that you don't need anyone else's approval to move forward. You don't need anyone else to tell you that you're on the right path. You just need to believe in yourself. You just need to trust the process and keep moving forward. Because as you walk alone, you'll find that you have everything you need to succeed already inside of you. Number 2, walk alone until you find the right people. Walking alone is a choice that can seem intimidating to many. There's a natural pull to surround ourselves with other people, to rely on others for companionship, for support, and even for direction. It's not uncommon to feel a sense of comfort in knowing you're not alone on your journey. But sometimes the path you need to walk is one that requires you to stand by yourself for a while. And that's okay. In fact, it can be incredibly powerful. As you walk alone, you start to learn things about yourself you might have never discovered while always having someone else around. You begin to face your fears head on, without distractions. And that's where growth happens. Walking alone gives you the space to think clearly, to reflect on who you are, where you've been, and where you want to go. It's a time to reset, to reevaluate your goals, and to decide whether or not you are truly on the path that's meant for you. And that's not something that happens when you're constantly surrounded by people who might be pulling you in different directions. You see, walking alone isn't just about physical isolation. It's about emotional and mental space as well. It's about being in a position where you can hear your own thoughts without outside influences. It's about getting to know who you are, what you really want, and what you're capable of, without relying on someone else's opinion to shape your choices. But here's the truth. Walking alone can be a challenge. It's hard to trust yourself fully when you've been conditioned to seek validation from others. It's difficult to make decisions when you're used to asking others for their input. The fear of making the wrong choice can be overwhelming, and sometimes it feels like it's easier to just stay within the comfort of the crowd. But that's not where growth happens. Growth happens when you take ownership of your life, when you trust your own judgment, and when you step forward with courage, even when no one else is there to hold your hand. When you walk alone, you might find that you lose some people along the way. That can be a tough pill to swallow, especially if you've spent a lot of time nurturing relationships that no longer serve your purpose. The truth is, some people will fall away because they don't understand your journey, or they're simply not meant to walk with you in the next phase of your life. It's not a reflection of your worth. It's just a part of the process. And let me tell you something. Those people who leave, they weren't meant to be there forever. Their absence creates the space for you to find the people who will truly support your journey. It's a natural part of the process of personal growth. You'll find that when you choose to walk alone for a while, you attract the right people into your life. These people are the ones who understand your vision, respect your journey, and have their own clarity about where they want to go. They're not here to hold you back. They're here to walk beside you in a way that complements your growth, not inhibits it. While walking alone can feel isolating at times, there's an important lesson here. It's okay to be alone for a while. It's okay to focus on your own personal development without the constant noise of other people's opinions. When you start to realize that you don't need constant validation from others, you start to find your own inner strength. You begin to realize that your happiness and your success don't depend on anyone else but yourself. As you continue walking alone, you'll notice that your self-reliance begins to grow. You'll start to trust your own judgment, and you'll have a clearer sense of direction. You'll stop looking to others for approval, because you'll recognize that you already have everything you need to succeed within you. Walking alone forces you to confront your fears, to take responsibility for your actions, and to find solutions to problems on your own. And when you do that, you grow stronger, more resilient, and more capable. But let me be clear, walking alone doesn't mean you're alone forever. It doesn't mean you'll always have to go through life without companionship. In fact, the opposite is true. Once you've taken the time to walk alone and develop your sense of self, you'll be in a much better position to attract the right people into your life. These are people who won't drag you down or try to change you. They'll respect your independence and support your goals. What's important is that you don't let the fear of loneliness stop you from walking alone when you need to. The people who are meant to be in your life will find their way to you when the time is right. They'll respect your need for independence and will offer their support without trying to control you. It's these kinds of people who will truly add value to your life. They'll encourage your growth rather than hinder it. One of the most powerful things about walking alone is that it teaches you to rely on yourself. It teaches you that your success is not dependent on others, and it shows you that you are capable of achieving everything you want without needing someone else to hold your hand through the process. It may be hard at first, but over time you'll learn to enjoy the space that walking alone creates. You'll learn to trust yourself more, to make decisions with confidence, and to develop a deeper understanding of what you want and need in life. As you walk alone, you'll also realize that it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. It's about learning from every step, gaining wisdom from every challenge, and growing stronger with every obstacle you face. It's about learning to enjoy the process, not just the end result. Walking alone gives you the space to reflect on where you've been, where you are, and where you're going. And that reflection is what helps you make better decisions moving forward. So while it's not always easy to walk alone, it's incredibly important. It's in those moments of solitude that you learn the most about yourself. It's in those moments of quiet reflection that you gain clarity about your goals, your values, and your purpose. And when you do finally find the right people to walk alongside you, it will be because you've developed a sense of self that can't be easily shaken by outside influences. When you walk alone, you get to decide who you are. You get to decide what you want and how you're going to achieve it. You're not influenced by the expectations of others. You're not living for anyone but yourself. And that's one of the most empowering things you can do for yourself. So trust the process, embrace the solitude, and know that as you walk alone, you are becoming the person you were always meant to be. Number 3. Self-reliance is the key to strength. Self-reliance is a topic that gets brought up often, but it's much deeper than just being able to take care of yourself. It's about finding the strength within you, knowing that no matter what life throws your way, you can handle it. The world will always offer distractions, challenges, and opinions. But when you learn to rely on yourself, it changes everything. You begin to realize that your success, happiness, and fulfillment come from within. It's not dependent on anyone else. You are in control. One of the most powerful things about self-reliance is that it gives you the freedom to make your own decisions without second guessing. You stop seeking approval from others. You stop relying on external validation. You begin to make choices based on your own beliefs, your own instincts, and your own understanding of what's right for you. This doesn't mean you reject all advice or cut people out of your life. It simply means you're no longer looking for someone else to tell you what to do. You trust yourself enough to make decisions, even if they're hard. But here's the thing, self-reliance doesn't come naturally to everyone. We're often conditioned to seek the opinions of others, to depend on others to guide us, and to look for external sources of reassurance. From an early age, we're taught that the way to succeed is to follow the rules, listen to authority, and rely on others to help us achieve our goals. But this mindset can hold you back. It can keep you stuck in a cycle of waiting for permission, waiting for the right opportunity, or waiting for someone to come along and show you the way. That's not how the world works. You have to take the first step yourself. It's not easy to break free from this dependence on others, but it's possible. The first step in developing self-reliance is acknowledging that you are the only one responsible for your life. Your choices matter. Your actions determine your future. If you want to succeed, it's up to you. That doesn't mean you can't lean on others for support, but you can't rely on them to do the work for you. You have to take ownership of your journey, even when it's difficult, even when it feels like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. There's strength in knowing that you are capable of handling life's challenges. When you begin to take responsibility for your own life, you start to see yourself in a different light. You become empowered. You realize that you are capable of achieving what you set out to do. And that's where the magic happens. The truth is, no one can tell you exactly how to live your life. Sure, people can give you advice, share their experiences, and provide guidance. But at the end of the day, it's your life to live. You are the one who has to take the reins. And when you start to rely on yourself, you start to understand that you have everything you need to succeed. You might not have all the answers right now, but you will find them. You might not know exactly how everything will unfold, but you can trust yourself to figure it out as you go. Self-reliance is about having faith in yourself, even when things get tough. It's about trusting that you will find a way, even when the path is unclear. It's about knowing that you have the strength to keep going, even when the world around you is telling you to quit. And it's about understanding that you are enough. You don't need anyone else to tell you that you're capable. You can prove it to yourself every day through your actions, through your decisions, and through your commitment to your own success. One of the biggest challenges to self-reliance is the fear of failure. We've all been there. We've all faced situations where we've tried something, and it didn't work out. It's easy to think that failure means we're not good enough, or that we're not cut out for success. But that's a lie. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a part of the process. Failure is how you learn. It's how you grow. Every time you fail, you gain valuable experience. You gain insight into what works and what doesn't, and you become better for it. The more you fail, the more you learn. The more you try, the closer you get to success. But you can't let fear hold you back. You can't let the fear of making a mistake stop you from taking action. If you want to rely on yourself, you have to be willing to face the possibility of failure. And when you do fail, you have to be willing to get back up, learn from it, and keep going. You see, self-reliance isn't about being perfect. It's about being willing to make mistakes and learn from them. It's about taking responsibility for your own growth, no matter how difficult it may be. When you rely on yourself, you stop blaming others for your circumstances. You stop making excuses. You realize that everything you've been through has brought you to where you are today, and it's all a part of your journey. It's also important to understand that self-reliance doesn't mean you have to do everything on your own. It doesn't mean you can't ask for help or lean on others when you need to. But it does mean that you have the ability to figure things out on your own. It means that you have the inner strength to make decisions, solve problems, and navigate through life without depending on others to do it for you. You have to believe in your ability to solve problems, even when it feels like the odds are stacked against you. You have to trust that you can handle whatever comes your way, even when it feels overwhelming. And when you take responsibility for your own life, you start to realize that you're in control. You're the one who decides how your story unfolds. Self-reliance is about taking action. It's about not waiting for the perfect moment or the right circumstances. It's about taking what you have and making the most of it. If you don't have all the resources you need right now, that's okay. You can figure it out. You can take small steps every day that will move you closer to your goal. You don't need everything to be perfect to get started. You just need to take the first step. When you rely on yourself, you become more resourceful. You learn to make do with what you have, and you become better at finding solutions to problems. You stop waiting for things to be handed to you, and instead you take ownership of your future. You become the person who can handle anything life throws at you, because you trust in your ability to solve problems and keep moving forward. As you continue to rely on yourself, you'll notice that your confidence grows. You'll start to believe in your abilities, and you'll start to trust yourself more and more. And that confidence is contagious. When you trust yourself, others will trust you too. When you make decisions with confidence, people will take notice. And before you know it, you'll find that you've become someone who others turn to for guidance, because they can see your strength and self-reliance. Self-reliance isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving. It's about becoming the best version of yourself, and that happens when you take control of your life. When you stop depending on others to make things happen for you, you start to realize just how much power you have within you, and that power will carry you through the toughest times. It will give you the strength to keep going when others would quit, and it will help you create the life you want. Number 4. The world won't always understand your path. The world is full of opinions, judgments, and advice. People will tell you what to do, how to do it, and why you should be doing it. But here's a hard truth. The world won't always understand your path, and that's okay. In fact, it's normal. In fact, if the world understood your path, you might not be on the right one. People are often quick to give their opinions, sometimes without even understanding the full picture of what you're working toward. They may not see your vision, your struggles, or your dreams. They don't know the sacrifices you're making, the sleepless nights, or the tough decisions you've had to face. They only see what's in front of them, and they base their judgments on that. It's easy to get discouraged when you feel like the world doesn't get it. You might feel like you're swimming against the current, like everyone around you is questioning your decisions or doubting your ability to succeed. But you have to understand that this is a part of the process. Not everyone is going to see your vision. Not everyone is going to understand why you're doing what you're doing, and that's okay. In fact, if they did understand, it might mean you're not thinking big enough. When you're pursuing something extraordinary, something different, something that goes against the grain, it's only natural that people won't always get it. That's the price of doing something that matters, something that pushes you to grow, something that challenges you to be better than you were yesterday. Look at anyone who has achieved something remarkable. Chances are they faced criticism and doubt from the people around them. People told them they were crazy, that their ideas would never work, that they should just stick to the safe path. But those who succeeded didn't let the opinions of others stop them. They kept moving forward, even when the world didn't understand. And that's what you have to do too. When you're on the path to something bigger than yourself, people might try to pull you down. They might try to tell you it's too hard, that you're wasting your time, that you should just settle for what everyone else has. But you can't let those voices dictate your path. You have to keep going, even when no one else understands why you're doing it. One of the hardest things about pursuing your own path is dealing with the uncertainty of it all. You might not have all the answers. You might not know exactly how things are going to turn out, but that's okay. Not having all the answers doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. It just means you're still figuring it out. It means you're still learning, still growing, and that's a good thing. You see, when you're doing something that matters, something that's important to you, you can't expect everyone to get it. You can't expect them to see things from your perspective. And that's something you have to come to terms with. If you constantly seek validation from the world, you'll never find the peace and clarity you need to move forward. Instead, you need to learn to trust yourself. You need to trust that you're on the right path, even when the world doesn't understand it. You have to be willing to stand strong in your belief in yourself and your vision, even when others doubt it. The truth is, most people will never understand the level of effort, sacrifice, and dedication that goes into achieving something meaningful. They'll see the results, but they won't see the work that it took to get there. And that's okay. It's not their journey, it's yours. You don't need their approval, their understanding, or their validation. You just need to keep moving forward, step by step, day by day, toward your goal. And here's the thing, the people who don't understand your path now, they may eventually come around. They may see the results of your hard work, and they may start to understand why you did what you did. But even if they don't, it doesn't matter. You're not doing this for them. You're doing this for you. You're doing this because you believe in yourself and your vision. And that's all that matters. There's another important thing to realize. When the world doesn't understand your path, it's often because they haven't walked it themselves. They don't know the sacrifices you've made, the choices you've had to make, or the struggles you've had to face. They're coming from a different perspective, one that's based on their own experiences and beliefs. But their perspective isn't yours, and it's important to remember that. You can't let the opinions of others shape your reality. If you do, you'll never move forward. You'll always be stuck in a cycle of trying to please everyone around you. And that's a never-ending battle. It's exhausting, it's draining, and it's ultimately unfulfilling. You have to be willing to let go of the need for approval. You have to be willing to stand firm in your belief that what you're doing matters, even if others don't see it that way. One of the hardest things to do is trust your own instincts, especially when the world doesn't understand what you're doing. But you have to. You have to trust that you're making the right decisions for yourself. You have to trust that even if others don't get it, you're on the right path. And you have to trust that in the end, the results will speak for themselves. When you're walking your own path, when you're working towards something bigger than yourself, it's easy to feel like you're alone. It's easy to feel like no one understands, like you're out there on your own. But the reality is that you're never truly alone. Even if no one else understands your path, there are others out there who are walking their own paths, just like you. They may not be in your immediate circle, but they're out there. And when you stay true to your own journey, you'll attract the right people into your life. People who understand what you're doing, people who support your vision, people who are walking similar paths themselves. Number 5. The right people will follow your lead. Finding the right people to surround yourself with is no easy task. It's something that takes time, patience, and discernment. It's something you have to be intentional about. You can't just hope that the right people will come along and magically make your life better. You have to go out and find them, but there's a catch. Before you find the right people, you have to be willing to walk alone for a while. The path to success, growth, and achievement often requires periods of solitude. In those moments, when you feel like you're walking alone, it's easy to feel isolated, discouraged, or like you're doing something wrong. But here's the truth. Walking alone is necessary. It's in those moments of solitude that you gain clarity. It's in those moments of walking alone that you can truly hear yourself, understand what you want, and begin to trust your own judgment. You see, the right people won't come into your life until you have a clear understanding of who you are and what you want. The wrong people can easily distract you, pull you off course, or keep you from realizing your potential. That's why it's so important to spend time alone, so you can get to know yourself better, figure out your strengths and weaknesses, and become comfortable in your own skin. It's not about being antisocial or shutting yourself off from the world. It's about creating space for yourself to grow, to learn, and to become the person you need to be in order to attract the right people. You need time to develop your own mindset, values, and goals, so that when the right people come along, you'll recognize them, and they'll recognize you. They'll see the person you've become, the work you've put in, and the growth you've achieved. They'll see someone who's focused, driven, and committed to their path. The right people are out there. They might not be in your immediate circle right now, but they exist. And the key to finding them is by being the person who can attract them. You can't attract people who are on the same wavelength as you if you're constantly trying to be something you're not. You can't attract like-minded individuals if you're pretending to be someone else, or if you're trying to please everyone around you. The right people will be drawn to you when you start showing up as your authentic self, when you start walking your path with purpose and clarity. Now, this doesn't mean that the right people will always show up immediately. It may take time. It may take a lot of time. You might feel like you're walking alone for longer than you expect, and that's okay. Sometimes the universe has a way of putting us in situations where we need to grow and learn before we can truly connect with others. And there's nothing wrong with that. Embrace it. Embrace the fact that the solitude you're experiencing is an essential part of your journey. It's helping you become the person who can lead, inspire, and attract the right people into your life. When you walk alone, you also learn how to rely on yourself. You learn how to trust your own decisions, how to take responsibility for your actions, and how to stay committed to your goals, even when no one else is watching. These are invaluable lessons that will serve you well when the right people come into your life. You'll be able to stand firm in your values, hold yourself accountable, and continue moving forward, even when others might not understand or agree with your choices. The journey of walking alone isn't just about learning who you are. It's also about developing the skills and mindset that will allow you to lead others when the time comes. You can't expect people to follow you if you don't know where you're going, if you're not clear on your vision, or if you're not leading by example. The right people will follow your lead when they see that you have a strong sense of purpose, that you're committed to your path, and that you're willing to do whatever it takes to reach your goals. As you continue on your journey, you'll begin to realize that the right people aren't just people who share your interests or goals. They're people who challenge you to grow, who encourage you to become better, who push you to be your best self. They're people who bring out the best in you, not the people who hold you back or keep you comfortable. The right people are the ones who will celebrate your successes with you, but who will also support you through your struggles. And this is something that you have to remember. It's not about the quantity of people you have in your life. It's about the quality. You don't need a huge circle of friends or a massive network to be successful. What you need are the right people, the people who truly understand you, who truly care about you, and who genuinely want to see you succeed. These are the people who will have your back when times get tough, who will stand by you through the ups and downs, and who will always believe in you, even when you doubt yourself. As you continue to walk alone, you'll begin to see that the people you attract into your life will reflect the work you've done on yourself. If you're constantly complaining, playing small, or seeking validation from others, you'll attract people who are on the same wavelength. But if you're focused, driven, and committed to becoming the best version of yourself, you'll start attracting people who share those same values. The people who come into your life will be a reflection of the energy you put out into the world. And that's why it's so important to focus on your own growth first. Because when you do, you'll naturally attract the right people who can help you take things to the next level. Number 6. Growth is uncomfortable, but necessary growth is not easy. In fact, growth is uncomfortable. If you're serious about becoming better, achieving more, and pushing yourself to new heights, you have to be willing to face discomfort head on. You have to be willing to put yourself in situations that challenge you, that stretch you beyond your limits, and force you to grow. But here's the thing, growth doesn't happen without discomfort. If you're comfortable all the time, if you're not facing resistance, you're probably not growing. And if you're not growing, you're not moving forward. I know it's not easy. I know that it can feel overwhelming at times. There are days when you'll feel like giving up, days when it seems easier to stay in your comfort zone, days when you'll question whether it's worth it. But I want you to understand this. Growth is necessary. It's not optional. You can't stay in the same place and expect different results. You can't keep doing what you've always done and expect to reach new heights. The only way to break through to the next level is by stepping out of your comfort zone and embracing the discomfort that comes with growth. When you're pushing yourself to grow, you'll experience a lot of resistance. You'll face challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But it's in those moments that you learn the most about yourself. It's in those moments that you discover what you're truly capable of. The discomfort you feel isn't a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's a sign that you're doing something right. It's a sign that you're on the right path. Because here's the truth. Nothing worth having comes easy. Success, achievement, and growth all require effort, sacrifice, and most importantly, discomfort. Think about the times in your life when you've made the most progress. Chances are, those were the times when you were outside your comfort zone. Maybe you started a new job, moved to a new city, or took on a new challenge that pushed you to your limits. Those experiences were uncomfortable, but they were also the moments that shaped you into the person you are today. They taught you valuable lessons, gave you new perspectives, and helped you grow in ways you never could have imagined if you had stayed in your comfort zone. But here's the kicker. Growth isn't just about facing discomfort. It's about embracing it. It's about leaning into the challenges, the obstacles, and the hard work. It's about understanding that discomfort is a sign that you're on the right track, not the wrong one. The more you resist growth, the more you hold yourself back. The more you avoid discomfort, the more you delay your success. But if you embrace it, if you welcome the challenges, you'll find that growth becomes easier over time. It becomes less about the discomfort itself and more about the strength, resilience, and confidence you gain from overcoming it. Now, I know there's a fear that comes with discomfort. It's natural. Nobody likes to be uncomfortable, and nobody wants to fail. But I want to remind you that failure is part of the process. It's not something to be feared. It's something to be embraced. Failure is just a lesson in disguise. It's feedback. It's telling you what doesn't work so that you can try a different approach and keep moving forward. The most successful people in the world didn't get to where they are by avoiding failure. They got there by embracing it, learning from it, and using it to fuel their growth. And here's the thing, growth doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process. It's like building a muscle. At first it's hard. You're lifting weights that feel too heavy. Your body is sore, and you wonder if you'll ever get stronger. But over time, as you keep showing up, as you keep pushing yourself, you start to see progress. Your muscles get stronger, your endurance increases, and what once felt impossible becomes part of your routine. The same is true for personal growth. At first it's uncomfortable, but the more you push yourself, the more you challenge yourself, the easier it becomes, and eventually what once seemed difficult becomes second nature. But let's be real. There will be times when you'll want to quit. There will be times when you'll wonder if it's worth it. There will be days when you'll feel like giving up, when you'll question your abilities, and when you'll doubt your progress, and that's okay. It's part of the process. The key is not to let those moments define you. The key is to keep going, to keep pushing, and to remember that growth is a long-term game. It's not about instant results. It's about consistency, persistence, and resilience. One of the most important things you can do on your journey of growth is to be patient with yourself. Don't expect things to happen overnight. Don't expect to have all the answers right away. Give yourself grace. Allow yourself to make mistakes. Allow yourself to stumble, fall, and get back up again. That's how growth happens. It's messy, it's imperfect, but it's worth it. And as you continue to grow, you'll start to notice something incredible. You'll start to see the transformation happening right before your eyes. You'll start to see that you're stronger, wiser, and more capable than you were before. You'll start to see that the discomfort you once feared is no longer as intimidating as it used to be. You'll start to see that you've become someone who is not only capable of facing challenges, but who is thriving in the face of them. That's the power of growth. It doesn't just change your circumstances, it changes you. It makes you stronger, more confident, and more prepared to handle whatever life throws your way. So when you're faced with discomfort, when you're faced with the challenges that come with growth, don't run from them. Don't shy away from them. Embrace them. Step into them with confidence, knowing that each challenge is an opportunity for you to become better. Remember that growth is uncomfortable, but it's also necessary. It's the only way to get from where you are now to where you want to be. And when you look back at how far you've come, when you see the person you've become, you'll be grateful for every moment of discomfort, every challenge, and every setback. Because those were the moments that made you stronger, more resilient, and more capable of achieving everything you've ever dreamed of. Number 7, don't seek approval. Seek progress. I see so many people seeking approval from others, whether it's from family, friends, coworkers, or strangers on the internet. It's an easy trap to fall into. We all want to be liked, to fit in, to feel validated. But here's the reality. Seeking approval from others is one of the biggest barriers to personal growth and success. If you're always looking to others to tell you that you're on the right path, you'll never fully step into your own power. You'll never fully realize your potential. The truth is, approval doesn't bring progress. Only action and growth do. What happens when you seek approval from others? You're handing over control of your life. You're allowing other people's opinions, judgments, and expectations to shape your decision. You're letting them dictate your path, your pace, and your priorities. When you do this, you stop thinking for yourself. You stop trusting your own instincts. You're just trying to fit into someone else's mold, someone else's idea of success. And that's a dangerous place to be. But what if I told you that you don't need anyone's approval to succeed? What if I told you that the only person whose opinion really matters is your own? That's right. Your approval, your belief in yourself, is what will drive you forward. When you stop seeking validation from others, you free yourself to pursue your goals without fear, without hesitation, and without regret. Now, I know that doesn't mean you should completely disregard feedback from others. It doesn't mean you should ignore constructive criticism or advice from people who genuinely care about your success. But there's a difference between seeking approval and seeking feedback. Feedback is valuable because it helps you improve and grow. Approval, on the other hand, is based on someone else's standards, someone else's vision for what your life should look like. If you're always seeking approval, you'll never be able to live on your terms. The danger of seeking approval is that it keeps you stuck in a cycle of doubt and fear. You'll constantly wonder, what do they think of me? Am I doing this right? Will they approve of my choices? And the problem with that line of thinking is that you'll never have all the answers. You'll never be able to please everyone. No matter what you do, there will always be someone who doesn't agree with you, who doesn't like your choices, or who thinks you're going in the wrong direction. And if you're constantly looking to please everyone, you'll end up doing nothing at all. You'll end up stuck in indecision, never moving forward, never making progress. Think about the times in your life when you've made the most progress. Were you seeking approval from others during those times? Or were you following your own instincts, taking risks, and pushing forward despite the fear? The truth is, the most successful people in the world didn't get to where they are by seeking approval from others. They got there by staying focused on their own vision, their own goals, and their own beliefs. They trusted themselves, even when others didn't. You've got to realize that approval is overrated. It's a temporary feeling, a fleeting sense of validation that doesn't truly fulfill you. It doesn't bring lasting happiness or success. What does bring fulfillment is progress. What brings fulfillment is the knowledge that you're moving closer to your goals, that you're becoming the person you're meant to be, and that you're creating something meaningful with your life. Progress is what will sustain you. Approval will always be conditional. Progress is what you can count on. And here's the truth. You'll never be able to make everyone happy. There will always be people who don't agree with you, who don't understand your choices, or who think you're making a mistake. That's okay. You don't need their approval to move forward. You don't need their permission to chase your dream. You are the only one who can decide what's best for your life. You are the only one who can choose your path. Don't let anyone else's opinions hold you back. When you stop seeking approval from others, you give yourself the freedom to pursue your dreams on your own terms. You give yourself the freedom to take risks, to make mistakes, and to grow. You give yourself the freedom to become the person you were always meant to be, without the weight of other people's expectations holding you down. But here's something I want you to understand. This doesn't mean you should be reckless. It doesn't mean you should ignore advice, shut out the people who care about you, or disregard the wisdom of others. It's about finding the balance between listening to feedback and trusting yourself. It's about being open to learning, but not letting someone else's opinion determine your worth or your success. Trust your own judgment. Trust your own instincts. And when you do seek advice, make sure it's from people who genuinely have your best interests at heart. People who believe in you and want to see you succeed. The key is to stop letting the fear of disapproval stop you from taking action. Stop letting the need for validation prevent you from making decisions. Stop waiting for permission to live your life the way you want to live it. You don't need anyone's approval to make your dreams a reality. You don't need anyone's approval to take the next step in your journey. You have everything you need within yourself to move forward. You just have to trust yourself. And when you stop seeking approval, you'll find that your confidence grows. You'll find that you're more willing to take risks, to put yourself out there, and to embrace the uncertainty that comes with growth. You'll find that you're not as afraid of rejection or failure, because you're no longer looking for someone else to tell you that you're doing it right. You're not waiting for someone else to approve of your actions. You're doing what feels right to you. You're doing what you believe is best for your life. The most successful people in the world have one thing in common. They trust themselves. They trust their vision. They trust their abilities. And they don't let anyone else's approval or disapproval derail them from their path. They keep moving forward because they know that progress is what matters, not validation. They know that their journey is their own, and they are the ones in control of it. Number 8, learn to love your own company. Learning to love your own company is one of the most empowering steps you can take in life. For many, this might sound intimidating or even a little scary. After all, We live in a world where so much value is placed on socializing, meeting new people, and building relationships. And while those things are important, there's something that often gets overlooked: the power of solitude, the ability to truly enjoy your own company, to be content in your own space, to be at peace with yourself. This is where personal strength begins. And yet so many people are afraid of being alone. They're afraid of the silence, the stillness, the quiet moments that allow them to connect with themselves on a deeper level. But here's the thing: until you can love your own company, you'll never truly be free. You'll always be seeking external validation, relying on others to fill a void that can only be filled by you. You'll constantly look for distractions to avoid facing your own thoughts and feelings. You might think that being around others will make you feel more complete, more connected, more valuable. But in reality, when you don't love yourself, nothing anyone else does will ever be enough. You'll always be searching for something outside of yourself to make you feel whole. The truth is, learning to love your own company is not just about spending time alone. It's about embracing solitude with a positive mindset. It's about becoming comfortable with who you are, without needing someone else to define your worth. When you're comfortable with yourself, you don't need constant validation from others. You don't need to be constantly surrounded by people to feel like you matter. You realize that you are enough as you are. You begin to appreciate the time you spend alone as an opportunity for self-reflection, growth, and personal development. Now, I get it. Being alone can be uncomfortable, especially if you're not used to it. The quiet can feel overwhelming. Your thoughts can become loud and intrusive. But this is exactly why learning to love your own company is so important. It's in those moments of solitude that you can truly hear your own voice, tune into your own desires, and discover who you really are. It's in those moments that you start to break free from the expectations and opinions of others, and you begin to form your own identity based on your own values and beliefs. When you spend time alone, you give yourself the chance to grow, to evolve, and to become the person you were meant to be. But you can't do that if you're constantly surrounded by noise and distractions. Learning to love your own company doesn't mean shutting yourself off from the world. It doesn't mean avoiding relationships or turning your back on the people who care about you. It simply means that you're okay with being alone. You don't need to be in constant motion or seek validation from others to feel fulfilled. You realize that your worth comes from within. You understand that you are complete, with or without anyone else. And once you reach that point, you'll find that your relationships with others improve, because you're no longer relying on them to fill a void within you. You're no longer dependent on anyone else for your happiness or sense of self-worth. But here's the thing: it's not always easy. The world tells us that we need to be constantly busy, constantly surrounded by people, constantly achieving. We're taught that success is about having a wide circle of friends, being popular, and always being on the go. But let me tell you something. This is a lie. Success is about being at peace with who you are, regardless of what others think or expect of you. Success is about taking the time to nurture yourself, to heal, and to grow. And that can only happen when you embrace the power of solitude. When you learn to love your own company, you start to see things in a different light. You realize that you don't need to keep up with the latest trends or chase after external markers of success to feel good about yourself. You start to value your own time and energy. You stop letting others drain you or take advantage of your kindness. Instead, you focus on what matters most: your own well-being, your own growth, your own happiness. But that doesn't mean that everything will be easy. You'll still face challenges. You'll still have moments of doubt, moments when you feel lonely or disconnected. But the difference is that when you love your own company, you learn to be okay with those moments. You learn that they're a natural part of life, and that they don't define you. You learn that you don't need anyone else to make you feel whole. You've already got everything you need inside of you. The more time you spend alone, the more you'll discover about yourself. You'll find that you have talents, strengths, and passions that you never knew existed. You'll have time to explore new interests, read books, try new things, and simply be. And when you do that, you'll begin to realize that you don't need to seek approval from anyone else. You don't need to conform to anyone else's expectations. You don't need to follow anyone else's path. You can create your own journey, one that's true to who you are, one that brings you fulfillment and joy. And let me tell you, when you love your own company, you become a magnet for positive energy. People will be drawn to you, not because you're trying to impress them, or because you're seeking their approval, but because you radiate confidence, self-respect, and peace. You'll attract people who are aligned with your values, people who appreciate you for who you truly are. And that's the kind of connection that's meaningful and lasting. But in order to get to that point, you have to be willing to put in the work. You have to be willing to face the discomfort of being alone, to sit with your thoughts, and to embrace the silence. You have to be willing to confront your fears, your insecurities, and your doubts. You have to be willing to go on a journey of self-discovery. And that journey starts with loving your own company. When you start to embrace solitude, you'll notice something incredible. You'll stop seeking distractions. You won't need to keep scrolling through your phone or binge watching TV shows to avoid your thoughts. You'll begin to enjoy the quiet moments, the moments when you can simply be with yourself. You'll realize that those moments are a gift, an opportunity to recharge, to reflect, and to grow. Learning to love your own company is a process, and it's not something that happens overnight. It takes time, patience, and practice. But once you get there, you'll find that your life becomes richer, more meaningful, and more fulfilling. You'll no longer feel like something is missing. You'll no longer feel like you need to be constantly busy or surrounded by people to feel validated. You'll find peace within yourself, and that peace will radiate out into every area of your life. Number 9. The journey is hard, but the reward is worth it. The journey is never easy, but let me tell you, it's worth it. I've seen it countless times with people I've worked with, and I've experienced it in my own life. You're going to face challenges. You're going to encounter obstacles that will test you in ways you never expected. But it's in those moments, the tough moments, the moments that seem impossible, that you'll find out what you're truly made of. The truth is, the road to success is not a straight path. It's filled with detours, setbacks, and failures. But here's the secret. Those setbacks, those failures, they're not the end of the road. They are part of the journey. They are the stepping stones that lead to where you want to go. They are what make the success you eventually achieve so much sweeter. So many people give up too soon. They encounter a challenge, a difficulty, and they think, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. But here's the thing. If you give up every time things get tough, you'll never know what you could have achieved. You'll never experience the reward that comes from pushing through the hard times. And the hard times will come. That's a guarantee. You'll hit moments where you question everything you're doing. You'll feel tired, worn out, and discouraged. You might even want to throw in the towel. But I promise you, if you keep going, if you keep putting one foot in front of the other, you will get there. There's an old saying that goes, the darkest hour is just before the dawn. When you're in the middle of the struggle, it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. You feel like you're stuck in the middle of a storm, and you can't see your way out. But what I've learned, what I've experienced firsthand, is that if you hold on just a little longer, if you push through that moment of doubt and uncertainty, you'll find that the storm eventually clears. And when it does, you'll look back and realize that you were stronger for having gone through it. You'll realize that those difficult times were the moments that shaped you, that molded you into the person you are today. The journey is hard. There's no way around that. But that's exactly why it's worth it. If it were easy, everyone would be doing it. If success came easily, it wouldn't be as valuable. The struggle, the hustle, the moments of feeling like you can't go on, that's what makes the success at the end of the journey so meaningful. When you reach your goal, when you look back on everything you've overcome, you'll have a sense of pride that no one can take away from you. You'll know that you earned it. Now, I know some of you might be wondering, why does it have to be so hard? Why can't things just come easy? And I get it. We all want the easy way out. We all want to find the shortcut, the quick fix, the path of least resistance. But life doesn't work that way. Success doesn't work that way. The things that are truly worth having are the things you have to fight for. They're the things that require perseverance, effort, and a willingness to keep going when things get tough. The things worth having require you to grow, to stretch yourself, and to push past your limits. But here's the thing. You don't have to do it alone. Yes, the journey is hard, but that doesn't mean you have to carry the weight on your own. There are people out there who have walked this path before you, people who understand what you're going through, and they're ready to help. Whether it's a mentor, a friend, or a community of like-minded people, there's support available to you. Don't be afraid to reach out when you need it. Don't be afraid to lean on others when the going gets tough. But even with support, the hardest work will always be yours. No one can do the work for you. No one can make the journey for you. You have to make the decision to keep going, even when it feels impossible. You have to make the decision to keep pushing forward, even when every part of you wants to quit. And when you do that, when you keep moving forward no matter what, that's when the magic happens. That's when you realize that you're capable of so much more than you ever imagined. There's something else that happens on this journey. Something that's hard to put into words but incredibly powerful when it happens. You start to change. You start to grow. The person you are today won't be the person you are tomorrow, next month, or next year. You will evolve, you will transform, and you will become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. The challenges you face today will seem like nothing in the future. You'll look back and think, how did I ever let that stop me? How did I ever think I couldn't make it through? The journey is not just about reaching the destination. It's about who you become along the way. It's about the lessons you learn, the strength you gain, and the confidence you build. You'll look back on those hard times and realize that they were the moments that shaped you. They were the moments that taught you what you're truly capable of. And that's something that no one can take away from you. The reward, my friend, is worth the struggle. The success you're striving for is worth the sacrifices you're making. The person you'll become is worth the effort. Yes, it's hard. Yes, there will be moments when you feel like giving up. But when you keep going, when you push through, you'll realize that the hard journey is what makes the success so much more rewarding. The success isn't just the destination. It's everything you've learned, everything you've overcome, and everything you've become along the way. So if you're in the middle of your own journey right now and things are tough, don't give up. Don't throw in the towel. Keep going. Keep fighting. Keep pushing forward. The rewards are just around the corner, and you're stronger than you think. You've already come this far. You're already further along than you give yourself credit for. And if you keep going, if you keep pressing on, I promise you that the journey will be worth it. There's greatness inside of you. There's a version of you waiting to emerge that's stronger, smarter, more capable, and more resilient than you ever thought possible. And the only way to uncover that greatness is to keep moving forward, one step at a time, no matter how hard it gets. You're on the right path, and you're closer to your goal than you realize. Keep going, because the best is yet to come. Number 10, the importance of setting your own standards. The idea of setting your own standards might sound simple at first, but when you really think about it, it's one of the most powerful decisions you can make in your life. Too many of us walk around following the standards set by other people. We let society, our friends, or even our family tell us what's acceptable, what's normal, and what we should strive for. And while there's nothing inherently wrong with getting advice or inspiration from others, the problem comes when you stop thinking for yourself. When you let other people's standards become your own, you risk losing touch with who you truly are and what you want out of life. That's why it's so important to create your own standards, to define what success looks like for you, and to commit to living by those standards no matter what. So what does it mean to set your own standards? It means taking full responsibility for your life, your actions, and your future. It means not relying on anyone else to tell you how to live, what to do, or what you're capable of. When you set your own standards, you don't let anyone dictate your worth. You don't let outside influences control your mindset or your decisions. You take control of your life, and you decide what success looks like on your terms. This isn't about arrogance or defiance. It's about being clear on your values and what you believe is important. We all have dreams. We all have goals we want to reach. But if you're not careful, it's easy to get caught up in other people's expectations. There's a temptation to follow the path that others have set, to do what everyone else is doing because it feels like the right thing to do. But I'm here to tell you the right thing to do is the thing that aligns with your own values, your own vision, and your own understanding of what a successful life looks like. When you set your own standards, you stop comparing yourself to others. You stop measuring your worth based on how you stack up to other people. This is a dangerous trap that so many people fall into, and it's one of the main reasons why people struggle with feelings of inadequacy and frustration. You look at someone else's success, and you start to think, I should be where they are by now, or maybe I'm doing something wrong. But the truth is, there's no one-size-fits-all definition of success. Your journey is different from anyone else's, and that's okay. You don't have to live up to anyone else's standards. You don't have to compete with anyone else's timeline. Your success is yours to define. But creating your own standards is not always easy. It requires a deep level of self-awareness and a willingness to be honest with yourself. You need to ask yourself the tough questions. What do I truly want? What makes me feel fulfilled? What do I stand for? These questions can be uncomfortable because they force you to confront your fears, doubts, and insecurities. But it's only by facing these things head-on that you can create a life that's truly aligned with who you are and what you want. One of the biggest challenges in setting your own standards is the fear of judgment. We live in a world where it's easy to get caught up in what other people think. We worry about how we'll be perceived, whether we'll be accepted, or whether we'll be judged for not conforming to societal norms. But let me tell you, the opinions of others are not as important as your own happiness, your own sense of purpose, and your own fulfillment. When you start living by your own standards, you have to let go of the fear of judgment. You have to understand that the people who truly matter, the ones who love and support you, will respect your decisions, even if they don't fully understand them. And those who don't support you, those who try to bring you down or tell you that you're not doing it right, they don't deserve a place in your life. Setting your own standards also means not waiting for permission. So many people spend their lives waiting for someone to tell them it's okay to do something. They wait for validation from others, or they seek approval before making a move. But the truth is, you don't need permission to live the life you want. You don't need anyone's approval to follow your own path. It's your life, and you're the only one who gets to decide how you're going to live it. When you set your own standards, you take ownership of your decisions, and you stop relying on others to make your choices for you. Now, creating your own standards doesn't mean that you never learn from others. It doesn't mean that you close yourself off to advice or guidance. There's wisdom to be gained from the experiences of others, but it's important to take that wisdom and filter it through your own lens. What resonates with you? What fits into your life? What aligns with your values? Take the lessons, apply them where they make sense, but always remember that you are the one in charge of your own life. The beauty of setting your own standards is that you get to define what success means to you. Success is not a one-size-fits-all concept. It looks different for everyone. For some, success might mean financial freedom, while for others it might mean building a meaningful career. For some, success might be about creating strong relationships, while for others it might mean living a life of adventure. Whatever it looks like for you, it's your definition to make. And the more clearly you define success for yourself, the easier it becomes to stay focused and motivated. When you know what you're working toward and why it matters to you, it's much easier to take action and stay committed. But you also have to be realistic when setting your standards. It's not about creating impossible ideals that will set you up for failure. It's about creating standards that push you to be the best version of yourself. It's about setting goals that challenge you but are still within reach, if you put in the work. Your standards should stretch you and force you to grow, but they shouldn't be so unrealistic that they become a source of frustration or discouragement. And as you work toward your goals and live by your own standards, remember that setbacks and failures are a part of the process. It's easy to get discouraged when things don't go according to plan, but those setbacks don't define you. They are simply part of the journey. The real measure of your success is how you respond to challenges. Do you give up, or do you get back up and keep going? Do you let a failure define you, or do you learn from it and use it as fuel to keep moving forward? Ultimately, setting your own standards is about living authentically. It's about being true to yourself and creating a life that reflects who you are and what you believe. It's about making decisions based on your values, not based on what others expect of you. And it's about building a life that makes you proud, a life that's full of purpose, fulfillment, and satisfaction.